Forsaken's current biggest problem is that the best killers in the game existed before the game even came out. A lot of the characters that built the game's identity existed beforehand, like Cruel Kid, John Doe, Noli, 1X, the Guest 666. They all came with years of Roblox history behind them. The devs didn't really need to make people care about them. A lot of people already did. They already wanted to see them in this environment. Azure is going to have none of that. All they're going to have is their Forsaken lore, and he's somehow still become one of the most anticipated killers that the game has and will probably ever have. The hype is already there. The question is whether they can truly justify that hype, because the last time Forsaken put out an original killer that wasn't a myth or hacker, the community did not really like it that much. They made their feelings very clear. To understand the true pressure that Azure is under, you really need to understand what sold people on Forsaken from day one. The launch roster wasn't for random killers. It was for characters that existed in the Roblox community. People already had a relationship with them before Forsaken even existed. Like John Doe, an alleged hacker that kids were convinced that would come back and destroy Roblox on March 18. A myth that spread everywhere back in like 2018, 2017. 1X, an account literally made by Shiletsky to be the platform's villain and a part of the mythology of Roblox. Cruel Kid, an expert in grips so notorious they became a legend in their own right. And then of course you had Jason Voorhees from Survive and Kill the Killers in Area 51. Well, Friday the 13th of course. The game didn't need to create that attachment, it just gave it an ASIM based home. And of course post-launch, Noli and Guest 666 continued it perfectly. Roblox myths with massive recognition, especially Guest 666, landing exactly the way you would have expected it. And of course Azure doesn't have that. All they have is their Forsaken hype, and the community has already shown what happens when an original killer shows up and does not have enough punch. Nosferatu was Forsaken's 95% first original killer. The entire thing was not a myth, not a legend, loosely based on a Roblox bundle, but in a character entirely built within Forsaken's own lore. Now I personally think the update worked, but the community did not read it that way. Coming off the release of Guest 666, the community was expecting another myth, maybe Slenderman, maybe Mr. Doombringer, maybe even Flowers, but what ended up coming out was a killer that had no pre-existence before Forsaken, that had to ask them to care about it. A lot of people just walked away disappointed. That disappointment hardened over months of silence, and now it sits entirely on Azure's shoulders because the original killers in Forsaken are currently 0 for 1. Now the last kill update the community genuinely got behind was Guest 666, October 31st, 2025. Then Nosferatu came after on November 28th, 2025, and we know how that landed. Azure drops May 31st, 2026 as of saying this. 7 months after the last update, people were actually enjoying with the killer in it. Same roster the whole time, same matchups, players openly saying that the matches feel stale. That sentiment has been building for months, and Azure is still what's pointed at. He's not dropping into excitement, he's dropping into 7 months of built-up frustration as the most anticipated update, close to Noli, I'd say. That is almost an unfair amount of pressure, but it's kind of the reality that Azure's update is living in. So the question is now, what does Azure actually need to do? Because it's not just a good kit, the roster already has good kits. The problem players keep describing isn't that killers are weak, it's that matches feel the same, every game bleeding into the last. Noli was a killer who, when he released, felt genuinely unique to a lot of people. Not because he was broken or anything, he was definitely far from it looking back on it, but the roster was never broken for killers. But when Noli was the last killer, you knew from the first second where the match was going to feel different. The fake generators, hallucinations before we all got used to them, make you second guess everything that was on your screen. It really made the matches feel different and make them felt more lively. That's kind of what Azure needs to be, but even more. He has to be able to hold that after launch and keep doing a distinct playstyle enough so that even from the moment that players see them, they think, okay, that's a unique killer. Like, no more dash moves, there's people like calling it dash slop. Azure needs true identity, and when people see his name in the game, they have to know that things are going to play differently. Because if he feels familiar, if he feels like something we've already seen, this moment cannot be another Nosferatu. So here's the question underneath all of this. Was the myth formula the game, or was it just kind of the wrapper came in at first? Because that nostalgia, well, it isn't infinite. Roblox legends carry instant recognition. to a point. That built-in childhood connection, you're not gonna find it with every character. Like if I say 45229, are you gonna know who I'm talking about? Like, if you do, sure, but like most people are gonna know what I'm talking about. There aren't unlimited recognizable myths. Eventually Forsaken will have to stand on its own, even if this update doesn't work out and the game survives. Now, original survivors like Chance and 2-Time already exist, but a killer carries a different requirement. He controls the match, he gives the feel of the match. Having a 2-Time, having a Chance, it's not like as big to the match itself, like it's a choice you can do. You can choose to personally play a survivor, but you cannot choose personally to play against a killer. And Azure is going to be the first real test whether an original killer can do that, whether the devs can build a character worth caring about, no myth behind them, with a completely new kit and make it actually work. If he lands, if he like genuinely lands, it proves that future exists. Forsaken isn't capped by nostalgia big retro slop. It can build its own icons. If he doesn't, original killers go 0 for 2. And the question gets louder, was this game always good? Or is it just nostalgia back when everyone was new to the game and they're saying, oh my god, I recognize that character? Or can it actually build something that's going to stand on its own? And the only time we're going to really figure this out is May 31st and see what happens when the update actually comes out. Azure is set up to be one of the best things this game has ever done, but it could also fall flat really, really easily. The lore is there, the anticipation is there, the fandom is there, the moment is here. All he has to do is show up and make sure he gives us his best show. Anyways, that's it for the video. It's a rather short one, let's be honest, but you know, I feel like there's no point in dragging out this video. Anyways, drop predictions in the comments if you want. Complain about how the game sucks. Anyways, like, subscribe. Anyways, for the 5th time. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.